Busy morning here in Cressbrook. Busy morning all round. I woke up like with ping, wide awake at 4 a.m. and was lying there just with such an expansion. So many amazing things flowing at the moment. And then I thought, right, I'm going to have to get up and start harnessing some of this energy. So did a bit more on the love party, and I've just been to Buxton to fill up with water, and I've come here en route back to Cressbrook to do this filming. So it's kind of one sacred grove to another, and I set out in the dark, and it's now light. So I've been meaning to make this video for a couple of days. Let me slow down. Oh, yes, I mean, I'm naturally pretty speedy Gonzalez. So slowing down for me is a challenge. And so it's good practice to do things like meditation. And I'm not going to do a walkie-talkie today. I'm going to sit down here at the Sacred Grove. Haven't been down to sit here for a little while. And here we've got the little spring here. This is the Ravensdale Spring. So this is one of the first things that we did. We created this little watercourse, and we now realise, of course, that we really need to Victor Schauberger it, make it a bit windy and curvy, but it's quite a big job. So anyway, I'm also going to let me just set this up. Hold on. In honour of Angela, I have brought the pixie toe stool. Now this was a piece of the trees which were cut down at Ravensdale, and Angela wanted to keep it, and then she thought it was too much faff, so I decided to take it home. I've been using it as a little coffee table. It's actually such a cute log, so I thought actually I'm going to bring it down here and I'm going to sit on it. A little pixie toe stool, as a little seat to sit by the spring so I can do this video. Wonderful. And this is why it's good to have a tripod with adjustable legs, because it's so slopey around here. And yes, I'm sitting here. It's you can probably hear that it's raining, and the birds are squawking, and the energy is very clean and clear. It's so beautiful to come here and just spend a bit of time, and also to sit, and rather than do a walkie-talkie. But I wanted to make this little video to talk about liberation. And so now the story, let me just tell you a bit about the story. The story starts way back in February 2020, because I went out. I actually took my son, Eddie, who was 16 at the time, almost 17. I took him to Peru, to Sipapu, which was the retreat centre which Davina McHale and Nizami, they crowdfunded it. And I think it was probably their first proper retreat that they did there. And so I decided to make the pilgrimage, and I wanted to take my son Eddie. Now, Eddie was absolutely terrified of the idea of flying. So to get from where we are in Bakewell to Sipapu, I think we flew from Heathrow to Sao Paulo, then to Lima, and then to Puerto Maldonadas. And then we took the boat up the river, Tambopata. I think that's the name of the river, because it's a 3-hour boat ride to Sipapu. I mean, it was a real pilgrimage to go out there. So, I mean, good on Eddie, because it was really it was really him facing his fear of flying with like a mammoth long haul trip. So anyway, we made it. But of course, we were deep in the jungle. I mean, it's quite frightening in the jungle. And, you know, obviously masses of insects and just, you know, every activation that you're going to get will come out in the jungle. And the very first night, we were staying in the retreat centre, which was like a big wooden, huge hut, really, with a dormitory-style sleeping arrangement with bunk beds. And it had this tin roof, like a corrugated iron roof. And on the first night that we were there, there was this massive electrical storm. And literally, it was right overhead. And the hut, this roof, was struck by lightning. And just this crack of this, like, terrifying. And if you've ever been in a thunderstorm in the jungle, it is like 1,000 times more powerful than anything you might experience here in Britain, for example. So it really was an initiation, and we were literally struck by lightning on the first night. Oh my God, so it kind of struck the keynote for the week. And anyway, we, as part of this retreat, and just to mention actually, there were about 16 Danish guys, we called them the Vikings, all very evolved masculine guys, just like super strong, but, you know, big, strong Vikings, and yet all so in their heart and such a brotherhood, and all doing the medicine work and really going deep, you know, and facing their inner child, and there was much sobbing, and it was just so beautiful to see these men, this evolved masculine energy. And it was such they were such great role models for Eddie as well, to see how you could be super strong, and in that strong masculine, and yet super vulnerable and totally in the heart. It was just amazing. So we did 3 nights of, amongst other things, we did 3 nights of ayahuasca with the shaman who had flown down from Cusco, from the mountains into the jungle. So basically from the yang masculine at the top of the mountain in the Andes, which is about 3,000 meters above sea level, so about 10,000 feet. So it's high, down into the Peruvian jungle at Puerto Maldonados, at Sipapu. So deep into the valley, essentially. So very interesting for that shaman to come from the mountains to work in the jungle. But we did 3 nights of ayahuasca. And of course, when you do plant medicine in its natural habitat, because obviously the ayahuasca vine grows in the jungle, and it was mixed with chacruna, which are also leaves which grow in the jungle. So when you do medicine in its home habitat, again, the impact of it, the work is exponential. It's exponentially deep. Oh my goodness. So it was a very, very strong 3-night ceremony. And at the time I was going through, I mean, in medicine, you always set an intention. And at the time I was going through a whole nightmare divorce, settlement extraction from my second marriage. Which had been quite fraught, and I'd had to kind of go through a whole legal process. This is before I knew anything about common law. Lots of people walking their dogs, actually, here. Oh, look, here comes the doggy. Here in the forest. Sweet. So there's the public footpath along here, up to the main Lytton Frith farm, which is our main centre of operations. So I'm down here. This is actually, the Ravensdale Spring is actually at the heart of our land. From a feng shui point of view, this is the Tai Chi, this yin water of these springs. So it's a very magical sacred grove. It's interesting actually, having just come from Buxton, the whole of the Buxton Crescent, the Royal Crescent there, was built on the sacred grove to St Anne, or the St Anne's Well, was obviously, in pagan times, it wouldn't have been St Anne, and then it was, I guess, adopted by St Anne when Christianity came along, and then the Masons, the Duke of Devonshire, came along, built this huge Masonic crescent at the site of the sacred grove and put a water fountain for the people, the Lion's Head, St Anne's Well, for the people to drink from the deep, natural mineral water of the Buxton Spring, which is incredible. Absolutely amazing healing water. I mean, the Ravensdale spring water, I have drunk this, but it's not as pure. And spring water filters down through the earth, whereas mineral water comes deep from within the earth, and it's hot as well. It's thermal springs. So it's super healthy, natural living water. And I used to distill my water, but it was so dead. And now we drink from the Buxton water, and I go there 2 times a week to fill up. Anyway, I'm digressing. But where was I? So back to the medicine journey. Yes, I was talking about my extricating from my divorce. And you always set an intention in medicine. You know, what do you really want to work on? And so my intention was to create peace. You know, I didn't want to be in war and conflict. You know, how to create peace. Eddie did not, just to clarify, my son Eddie, although I took him with me, he lay down next to me, sat next to me during the ceremonies, but he didn't actually participate. And it was very interesting because he was kind of like my right-hand man and kind of holding the space for me. And as I was going through, I mean, when I go into medicine, it's quite a messy process, and I can end up going to all sorts of places of wailing and screaming and crying and being sick and all the rest of it. So it must have been probably quite scary for him to witness his mum going through that, but he held the space beautifully after I'd set this intention about peace. The first night's medicine, the very first thing that happened was I was plunged into World War II, and there was the British Army and there were the Nazis, and I was kind of plunged into war. Because, of course, every subject is 2 subjects. So if you want peace, you need to look at conflict and war, right? If you want peace, you need to look at your anger. So I was taken deep into the shadow by this medicine journey. It was strong. It was strong. Anyway, after the second night, we went back to the dormitory and slept. And when I woke up in the morning, I woke up again, ping, and literally just had a full download of the concept and the whole content and the whole design and everything for a book that I was being called to write. And I literally picked up my journal and just was scribbling away, just to, a bit like waking up from a dream. It's like catching it and laying it down so that you can remember it, because like a dream, even the most vivid dream, if you don't latch onto it, it can just disappear. And medicine journeys are like that too. So I knew this was super important. And so when I got back to the UK, I had this cover created to the exact instruction as per the medicine download. And so I had the design of the cover done. And what I've done here is I've mocked it up. So this is going to be the actual cover of the book. And the interesting thing about the instruction for this book, and the name of the book is Liberation, that it can be read from both ends. So one end is a kind of colourful, how to manifest vitality, flow, love, happiness, joy, all those amazing things that we want to create in our lives. But of course, the other side of it is basically how to get out the labyrinth, how to transcend pain and fear and suffering and all of the challenges that this life experience throws at us. Because of course we all want to live lives full of colour and joy and beauty, but the truth of the illusion is that it's a training program. So it is like we are in a very advanced kind of technology. And it's interesting because I was listening to David Icke talk about the reincarnation trap. about how this sort of archontic energy has trapped us all in this horrific nightmare scenario, and we have to just keep reincarnating again and again, and there's no way out of it. Well, I have to say that my view on it is slightly different to David Icke. Now, I know David Icke has done ayahuasca, but when he was talking about ayahuasca, he said he only did it once. And I suspect that he didn't make it beyond the veil, through the veil of illusion, because it takes a lot of work and quite a lot of purging and going deep, in my experience, to burst through the veil of illusion, to get to the other side of what lies beyond the matrix, beyond the 3D illusion, which is pure love. It's like 1,000,000 volts of pure love energy. It's a bit like leaving the Earth's atmosphere. It takes a lot of energy to kind of leave that gravitational pull of the 3D realm and get into that higher dimension, essentially. This is what lies beyond the illusion. It's pure love. And of course, we can experience this pure love, light, rainbow, vibrant energy in the 3D realm. Of course we can. I mean, being in nature is the closest that we can get naturally to being unplugged from the matrix, and unplugged especially from the false matrix, because of course this labyrinth has been locked down. It's been locked down by those who know the secrets of the mystery schools, and I believe misused those metaphysical teachings to gain power and control. And we're talking about Masonic forces, dark forces here. So the false matrix, it's kind of locked down. So when you go out of nature, where we're closest to God, and that is what sacred geometry means. My God recreates. That's an anagram. My God recreates is sacred geometry. But when you go into the city, when you go into the labyrinth, when you go underground, you go into the hell realms of pain and suffering and scarcity and all of those things that aren't aligned with the truth of what lies beyond. So we're in this incredible illusion, which is so real. It's so believable. Breaking through, seeing through the illusion, seeing through the false labyrinth is a huge part of the game. It reminds me actually of Florence Scovel Shinn. It was one of the very first books that I picked up at a Mind, Body, Spirit festival many years ago at Alexandra Palace, before I was awake to any of this. And I just happened to be in my lunch hour. I thought I'd just pop and see what it's all about. And there was this huge table, and there were all these books. And one of the piles of books was The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. So it was the very first metaphysical book that I ever read. And I think it was written in 1911, 1914. And it's a very, very amazing book about metaphysical teachings. She opens the book by saying, most people think that life is a battle to be won. But the truth is, I'm paraphrasing here, the truth is that life is a game, and it's a game to be played. But it's a game that you can only play if you understand the spiritual teachings. And then she goes on to talk a lot about the teachings of the New Testament in particular. And I wouldn't say it's particularly a book about religion. It's a book which opens your awareness to the realization that all of these wise ones who've lived before, who have understood how the illusion works, they've shared those teachings. I mean, we only have however many years, 80, 100 years, 108 years, maybe maximum, in this lifetime. And a lot of that lifetime is remembering and reawakening to this ancient knowledge. And so a lot of these teachers have left an incredible wisdom, like the Old Testament, the New Testament, the I Ching, Confucius, the teachings of the Buddha. They've left them as clues to help us to navigate through the labyrinth of illusion, so we can get through to the light. So going back to David Icke, he believes this is some kind of archontic energy, dark force, advanced technology which has trapped us here, and we're doomed to reincarnate. The way I see it, and this is my personal opinion on it and my personal experience, is that it's a training program. It's a training program in love. And love isn't just a kind of concept. It's something that you know about. It's something that you live. And it's love is a verb. It's something that you become. But the question is, once you get that it's an illusion and that it's a training program in love, and this is the name of the game, to be love, not just to know about love or just to do love or get love or give love, but to be love. The question is, can you hold that vibration? Can you hold it even when you are in the labyrinth? And so this book, Liberation, is not just about the principles, the metaphysical principles of this ultra high resonance, because God is love and love is a perfect harmonic resonance. So this book is not just about the metaphysical teachings and principles of love, but it's also about how to liberate ourselves from the labyrinth, from the false matrix. And so this very much is my magnum opus. I'm coming up to my second Saturn return. If you know anything about astrology, I have Saturn at 29 degrees of Aquarius, and I think it reaches there later this month. It's getting very, very close. And the interesting thing about this timing for me, and the reason why I've been in such a flurry to do all of this kind of launching and putting stuff out there, is because I'm also at the supreme yang of my 9-year prosperity cycle in terms of 9-star key. And 9-star key is basically feng shui astrology, and the concept is that time goes in cycles of 9 years. And I was first introduced to 9-star key feng shui when actually Red Letter Days crashed, and I was told, oh my God, you're in your year 1. And if you don't understand how the 9-year cycle works, you can go into your year 1 pushing. But the essence of a year 1 is it's kind of the starting. It's like the winter. It's the hibernation period. It's the sabbatical. It's the healing time. So that year 1 is your recuperation, your hibernation. It's restoring your vital energy so that you can come into the spring, which is in year 3. So you have kind of year 1 and year 2 is the kind of preparation year, and year 3 is your spring year. So I am coming out of my year 9, which is big yang energy. So it's the supreme yang of the 9-year cycle, having gone from the winter of years 1 and 2, and the spring, which is years 3 and 4, get the summer of year 5. Then you get to the autumn, the harvest years of years 6 and 7, which are about prosperity and abundance and harvesting all those seeds you planted in the year 3. And then you get to year 8, which is kind of going into your cave and reconsidering your life. And then you get to the supreme yang year 9, which is like Christmas. It's like a celebration. It's like the output of everything. It's like extremely easy to get famous in your year 9. I mean, when I did Dragon's Den, I was in my year 9. When I launched Source, I was in my year 9. This whole year 9 of manifesting Cressbrook and co-creating the Love Party and all of these amazing outputs, including the book, the launching of the book and the concept of the book, because those seeds were planted. I mean, this in my year 1 of 2014, my last year 1, that's when I started doing ayahuasca. That's when I started going deep with medicine work, because I just manifested Source in my year 9, Source TV. And I quickly realized that this toolbox, this old toolbox of 3D tools that I'd used to create Red Letter Days, they just weren't working. And of course they weren't working because Source is a metaphysical business. I'd created a metaphysical business, not a 3D business. And one of our evolutionaries, one of the amazing women who was part of the whole Source concept in the beginning, she just said, Rachel, if you're going to run a business called Source, you are going to have to go super deep with your own work. Because, of course, we were like with Source TV, yeah, we're going to transform the world. Yeah, we're going to save the planet. You know, save. We're going to save the planet, save everyone, save Cressbrook Dale. That rescuer energy, which is the part of the drama triangle, the persecutor, victim, rescuer, drama triangle. if we, quite often with the persecuted victim, the safe place to go is to be the rescuer, to be the healer. Yeah, I'm going to save everyone, I'm going to heal everyone. No, well, the only person you can truly save or heal is yourself, right? So I knew I had to go deep with my own inner work. So it was in 2014 that I started this deep inner journey, which led me to Peru and on many sacred pilgrimages and into the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid in Egypt, and all of these amazing adventures and shamanic journeying and deepening my wisdom around feng shui and the I Ching and all of these metaphysical principles, and trying to live them and embody them in my 3D world. And this is the name of the game. So the reason why I am putting this out there right now is because I'm at that peak yang. I'm at that peak yang of year 9. So in that year 9, a brilliant time just to put it out there. And I know that this coming year, I know it's time to go deeper, even deeper with my own personal journey. And I know, having got all the concepts and all the notes for this book, and having worked and lived that material of liberation since I got back from Peru, literally landing back in early March 2020, just as the whole COVID pandemic, lockdown thing was hitting. And just to complete the story, on the 3 nights of ayahuasca, my first 2 nights were so strong. On the 3rd night, I was terrified. I was too terrified to drink the medicine, and I only had the most tiny bit. And in that 3rd night, I looked down as the medicine was coming in. And sometimes it only takes a small dose, like a homeopathic dose, to trigger, because the medicine is in you. So it's like it takes a trigger. And I just remember looking down and into my heart and seeing this sword through my heart. And then in my vision, Eddie, my son, came into my vision dressed as a Knights Templar. And he was just so gentle, and he just literally took the sword and he just gently pulled this sword out of my heart. It was quite incredible. But one of the things I realized looking back is that I was too frightened to go deep, to deal with the demons that I was being called to face in that 3rd night of the ayahuasca ceremony. I was just too terrified. My nervous system was just shot to pieces, and I didn't want to take the medicine. And so life forced me to go on that journey. And it's a journey that I have been going on in the waking dream over the past 3 years, of this incredible awakening of consciousness, where we have all been called to find our voice, to speak out, and to be a stand for truth, and to be a stand to the system, the false matrix, which if it has its way, will completely lock us into the false matrix, to this grid, this dark energy. So it's a very interesting time to be incarnated. And I would so love to share all of those teachings, all of those downloads, all of that wisdom with you in a kind of handbook, which hopefully will assist you on your journey through the waking dream, your journey as you find your way out of the labyrinth. And quite often we can find ourselves plunged into very dark places in the labyrinth. And I have a feeling that, we're in this for the long haul. This master plan of total command control, it's only just starting. We're in this for the long haul, folks. So the more that we can help one another on this journey, the more we can find other points of light and join forces and share our wisdom, share our knowledge, support one another. To me, that is the name of the game. This co-creative collaboration, this amazing adventure that we are all in this together. So hopefully this is my small offering, and I trust that it will be helpful to you as you journey through the labyrinth, to you, my brothers and sisters. And so I am sending you lots of love from a very rainy Cressbrook Dale, and from my heart to yours, please do take a look, and if it resonates, then you can place your reservation for one of the limited edition of this book. I'm going to be focusing a lot of my time and energy, rather than creating videos and being on that kind of output. I'm going to be putting those energies into laying down this material for publication later in 2023. So if you want to secure one of those limited edition copies, there's only going to be 1,008 printed, and they're all going to be signed and numbered. And you can also select your number if you wish, and I will do my best to accommodate your wishes if there's a special number that you would like to reserve from 1 to 1008. So just to let you know, number 12 will already be reserved for me. That is my lucky number, being born on the 12th of the 12th. So sending you lots of love, and I'm off back home to do our morning mantras with the amazing Lucidia and Raphael. Trust me, singing mantras every morning for the past 3 months has literally transformed my life. I can't recommend it highly enough. So I must dash. See you soon, and bye for now.
Om Shrim Hrim Saraswati Namaha. 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 Saraswati Namaha. Om Shrim Hrim 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 Saraswati Namaha. Om Shri Hrim Saraswati Namaha. Om Shri Hrim Saraswati Namaha.
Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatiye Namaha. Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatiye Namaha. Om Shrim Hrim Saraswatiye Namaha. Buenos dias. Gracias por estar con nosotros esta mañana. Thank you for joining us this morning. We love you so much. Lovely to see you.